On this episode of Cool Stuff, I get to play big wave surfer,
Nice knowing you.
all-star ball player, and space shuttle pilot.
Oh man, that was rough.
In a world where technology imitates life, dreams can come true. From hitting a home run
And out of here.
to landing NASA's pride and joy.
Touchdown.
This is technology that's smart,
This would be like a full head mask. You just lay it right over.
cool, and so real it can kick your butt.
That was harsh. That one hurt.
The world is full of cool stuff. I'm Steve Truitt,
How come I'm not feeling any heat?
and I want to know how it works. I'll be riding the leading edge of innovation, pulling apart today's hottest technologies, and presenting them in ways you've never imagined. Join me on a journey into the hidden world of cool stuff.
You know, I've always wanted to go big wave boarding, but I kind of have an issue with sharks. So I found the new thing in surfing. It's the largest wave machine in the United States, and I'm going to give it a try.
I'm at San Diego's Wave House, where this is the main attraction. They call it Bruticus Maximus. It's an 8-foot jet-powered miracle of hydrodynamics, capable of breaking bones and cracking skulls. The local crew makes it look easy, and I'm muscling up the courage to join them.
Pretty soon I'm going to be going in there. I cannot wait.
But first, I'll check in with the wave's creator, Tom Lochtefeld.
All right, so how would I do if I went down there and tried it?
No good. Takes practice. You haven't had the time.
I want to try it. But I know you got some buddies down there that will help me.
All right.
Wish me luck.
I absolutely wish you luck.
Okay, Tom's given me the official no confidence vote. Sounds like a challenge to me. I get the wave pumped up to maximum height. It's man versus beast.
Nice knowing you.
Kids, do not try this at home.
Oh my gosh. That was harsh. That one hurt. Oh boy.
That 130,000 gallons of water had more power than I could handle. But I don't feel too bad, because it turns out even professional surfers struggle to tame this monster on their first try. A quick look at how it works reveals why. The first ingredient in this wave is water. Truckloads of it. It's stored in a pool about the same volume as 2 double garages. The water gets its blistering pace from 4 215 horsepower pumps. It's forced out of these sluice gates in a 4-inch deep sheet and fired at an 8-foot concrete contour, where the real magic happens. Rushing up the contour at 30 miles an hour, the water advances in what's called a laminar flow. This means the flow is smooth and free from turbulent eddies. Sticking tight to the slope, the water goes vertical, stalls, and folds into a simulation of surfing's holy grail, the tube. But the water in this tube is going more than twice the speed of the real thing. It's like you're surfing in fast forward, leaving no room for error.
Oh, that's gotta hurt the champion.
So I realized this isn't much like a real wave. And come to think of it, the boards don't look much like real surfboards either. Is there something I'm missing here?
It's different than surfing because there's no fins in the board, and you have to keep all your weight on the back. It's more like snowboarding.
Okay, now I get it. Turns out that although this might look like surfing, the boards and the physics used to ride them are closer to snowboarding.
Casey,
want to put your back foot on right about here, this pad. Right, front foot right
The key to
about there.
riding these flowboards, so I'm told, is to find the point of equilibrium between the upward force of the water and the downward pull of gravity. The rider needs to generate drag on the laminar flow of the water, but not too much. Find the perfect balance, and incredible maneuvers become possible.
Bend that back leg and put your feet on straight. You want to have them both be straight.
It all seems so easy on dry land,
Back this way.
Kind of doing really well right now, actually.
Exactly. That's what you want to do. It's that heel-toe motion.
but in the pool, it's a different story. Maintaining equilibrium is really tricky. And it's straight out the back door.
I'm done. That's it.
Did I conquer Bruticus Maximus? Well, no. But at least now I understand it. And the biggest revelation for me is that this is not the future of surfing. It's a whole new sport. And maybe it's best left to a whole new generation. Played a video game lately? If not, realism like this will probably knock you right out of the park. It's PlayStation 3's Major League Baseball game, and it's just like being there.
A block at the plate, and he's out trying to score.
The detail is incredible. You can even pick the player's trademark moves. It's time to discover what makes this realism possible.
I'm in San Diego, California at Sony Computer Entertainment, where the folks at PlayStation are making video games almost real. How do they do that? Well, I have an all-access pass to find out.
This is my lucky day. They're working on an update of Sony's baseball game, MLB The Show. And this is how they achieve that realism. They put all-stars like David Wright through the process of motion capture.
Take 5, ready, rolling.
Right now, the PlayStation 3 guys are capturing the ever-so-subtle moves that make David's plays so recognizable. Chris Clements is directing today's session.
The hardest part about this process is actually capturing the nuances of his motion. Fans out there know what David Wright looks like, or what every player looks like. They know what the stances look like, and if we don't nail them, we hear about it.
So cool. I'd like to have a game made of me like this.
For David, the process is easy. He just has to be himself.
How did it go?
Went great. You know, I'm a huge video game fan, so to get a chance to go through the motion cap, see myself as a stick figure on the screen, it was a lot of fun.
We'll catch up with David again later. But right now, let's take a look at the hardware that makes realism like this possible. Pop the PS3's hood, and you'll find a supercharged processor called the Cell Broadband Engine, aka the Cell. Cell because it's a bunch of processors, all clocking 3.2 gigahertz. The processors need to be fast because lifelike animation is a numbers game. It requires billions of computations.
As a hitter, you see fastball out of his hand, then boom, it's gone. Great
But
pitch.
while rendering digital effects in blockbuster films can take hours for just a single frame,
Two gone.
game developers don't have the luxury of time. Those calculations need to happen instantly. And with the PS3, they do. Take water. To look lifelike, it must reflect light, it must refract light, and it has to slosh around, just like the real thing. We're talking floating point calculations by the billion. How guys like software engineer Steven Osman do it is to treat water as a cluster of smooth particles, all of which interact with each other in real time, in high definition.
This is actually running at 60 frames per second. So it's doing all of these calculations in about 16 milliseconds.
And you can keep adding components. fire a cannon through the sails, and the cell processor inside the PS3 begins solving the equations of motion for every square inch of sail fabric. The result? Incredibly realistic cloth movement. The processor is so powerful, it handles just about anything game designers can throw at it. Okay, so it's not every day I get suited up in skin-tight Lycra. But then again, it's not every day I get to see how a cutting-edge game character is made.
How we doing?
It's tight.
Should be, a little snug, that's what we want. The closer to the actual, bones, actually the better.
It just helps you with definition and
Closer to real life. We don't want the,
Ryan Beeson and James Scarfoni of Sony Entertainment are going to capture the way I move. Reflective foam markers are stuck to critical moving parts of my body.
Yeah, there's certain positions of the body. The shoulders, your collar blade, your clavicles, and then we're going under the biceps next, right here.
I even have markers glued to my face.
The simple markers that we use.
How I twitch them makes it recognizably me.
how's it feel?
This feels kind of weird.
Each of my hands alone has 23 markers. At last, I'm ready for the motion capture studio.
Rolling. Okay, nice neutral face, that looks pretty good.
The lamps surrounding me are emitting infrared radiation. Each marker reflects it, and 42 cameras pick up every subtle change in position.
Give me your baseball throw. Feel like a champ now?
I do. I feel like a champ.
Nice.
Every marker is being assigned a location specific to me. So when the virtual me goes into the game engine, all these moves will be uniquely mine.
The computer very distinctly knows this is Steve and this is Steve's whatever, clavicle, shoulder, bicep, and that's essential to go down the pipeline.
Down the pipeline, this cluster of markers is located in 3D space and applied to a generic animated character.
At this point, it's pretty crude looking. This is just the raw data.
Flesh him out a little, and he's ready for a little personality.
We have different facial expressions for the different things they do. The facial animation is added as the next step in the process.
These guys' attention to detail is incredible.
You can see the different colors there.
That's because they're not just after a mock-up of me. Their goal is to capture everything that makes me, me. My body, my movements, and now, my face.
Chip. Steve.
Hi.
How you doing?
Great, how you doing?
Very good.
Chip Parsons is going to create a Steve Truitt lookalike.
What we'll want you to do is you'll just always be looking straight ahead. Don't try to look back at the camera. I'm going to rotate you 360 in 45-degree increments, and we'll do your whole head. 3, 2, 1, 2.
Vertical lines are projected onto my
Now
face.
the next back 45.
These act like contours. The computer measures their deformation and constructs a 3D shape. To build my entire head, I'm rotated 360 degrees in 45-degree increments.
The 45s give us enough overlap. We try to get a little bit of the last shot we took plus a new section.
And the goal is to create a full
3D 360-degree full head model that'll look just like you.
That requires realistic skin tones, so it's off for a photo shoot. Then it's back to Chip, production supervisor Travis Ross,
Chip.
and software that snaps each of my part face images onto a 3D mesh using a best fit algorithm.
So here's you really smoothed it out, didn't you?
My virtual face is made up of 500,000 triangles. All it needs now are the skin tones from the photo session.
This would be like a full head mask. You just lay it right over that motion capture.
And that's what makes this such a realistic process, because you're doing an exact scan of your face and an exact capture of your emotion.
Sadly, my character didn't make the cut to appear in the video game. But that's probably a good thing, because the virtual Steve Truitt wouldn't stand a chance against the virtual David Wright.
All right, so who's better? David Wright, you, or David Wright, the video game character?
Hands down, the virtual David Wright.
You think so?
I played the game a few minutes ago, and he didn't make any errors. He got a couple hits, even hit a home run. So, the real life David Wright I don't think is that good. So I could learn from him.
Rolling.
What David doesn't know is I paid very strict attention while he was in the mocap studio. and I think I spotted a chink in his armor. Okay, Wright, brace yourself for a Truitt Terminator. What?
That ball just kept going and going and going.
Oh, man. The space shuttle might be the most complex machine ever built, but agile, it ain't. If you get the job of landing this $2 billion brick with wings, you'll want to spend a lot of hours here first. At Ames NASA Research Facility in California, they've got the world's biggest vertical motion simulator. Its purpose? To teach astronauts how not to crash the space shuttle. Instructor Carol Bo Bobko has got 3 shuttle missions under his belt.
It's like nothing else. I mean, you go from 0 to orbital velocity, 17,500 miles an hour in 8 minutes. So it's really something.
To mimic such unique motion, you need an utterly unique simulator. It can hurtle a cockpit sideways, backwards, and forward, and vertically, 80 feet in the blink of an eye. As I'm about to find out.
Initiating IP. I'm going to press operate.
This is nothing like other flight sims.
B-team, nice and smooth. Okay. Keep it coming.
For starters, there are no takeoffs or aerobatic maneuvers to learn. Instead, it's all about sticking the landing.
Bank to the right just a little bit. Keep it coming.
And this is harder than you might think.
I'm going to crash this shuttle.
Mainly because the 230,000-pound space shuttle has to land unpowered. That means no trial runs or second chances. If this was a real shuttle, I'd have just one shot at getting it down.
Hard to handle a little bit.
Am I feeling the pressure? You bet. But I'm also feeling some very unusual motion.
And now I'm rolling.
Don't
see, I got cocky.
As I'm grappling with the controls, 4 motors on either side of the beam thrust the 150,000-pound simulator up and down.
5,000 feet.
Monster disc brakes do the stopping, and guide wheels make it glide smoothly. Except when I'm in charge.
Runway's real narrow. Okay. All over the place.
It feels like I'm wrestling this thing to the tarmac.
Touchdown.
Phew! That's the back wheels. Nose wheels coming up.
Nose down. Oh man, that was rough.
Now for the chute. It's released manually.
Parachute.
And yes, I can feel it slowing us down.
We're stopping. And I did it.
You did it.
I landed the space shuttle.
Now, before I take on the dreaded night landing, I want to find out exactly how much force my body was feeling. Operations Director Dean Giovanetti tells me the simulator can accelerate up and down at a staggering 1G.
If you were to step off the top of this building and fall, you would essentially fall at an acceleration of 32 feet per second, and that is 1G. And this machine has the capability of actually beating you down.
But what stops this whole rig from crashing through the floor? These 2 pressurized cylinders.
Very simply, they are like a big shock absorber. Goes 100 feet into the ground, and we pressurize that with nitrogen such that it makes this whole beam float on a cushion of air.
But it's some of the cockpit's smallest movements that have the most profound effect on its occupants. It all happens inside the pilot's inner ear. Slow rotation, forwards or backwards, moves jello-like material stuck to tiny hairs and creates the impression we're accelerating or decelerating. As well as physiological strain, the pilots have to deal with the unexpected.
And the computer's ready.
Control room engineers can throw almost any conditions they like at the shuttle. Bad weather,
low visibility, 10-knot crosswind,
or complete darkness. Right off, I can see night landings are a whole new ballgame.
This is a night landing in Edwards, and I'm already off the mark by a couple of miles, so I'm gonna have to bring it back.
Final approach starts at 10,000 feet. Aerodynamic braking strips the speed from over 400 miles per hour to just over 200. The cockpit is tilted only slightly, but inside, it feels like we're in free fall.
Wow. Okay.
Meanwhile, I've got to find the runway. It's down there somewhere.
Whoa! Holy moly!
And I think we just hit it.
What happened? Shoots out?
I brought her in sideways.
All right, I'm off it by about 20 feet.
But the shuttle is okay. My nerves, on the other hand, may never recover.
Thank you for the torture. That was incredible. Thanks, Commander.
From aeronautics to sports arenas, technology has gotten pretty good at simulating real life. And I've got the bruises to prove it.
That one hurt.
See you next time on Cool Stuff.